Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Wednesday night. Hopefully you are inside, safe from the weather that is going on around Middle Tennessee. And if you're joining us from elsewhere, parts unknown, we're very happy to have you in for tonight's show. Had Tyler Boyd on the radio today. I know a lot of you guys heard that interview. A lot of you consume the radio show just the same way that you do the primetime program. So we're going to play a clip for those of you who didn't get to hear the Tyler Boyd interview on how he's going to help Will Levis more than he helped Joe Burrow. And there's a very specific reason why, and I appreciated Boyd's insights on this. So we'll get to that. Since league meetings are in Nashville this week, we might as well take a look at some league news and notes going around on the biggest storylines that headline this portion. We're now in phase 3, I want to say, of the offseason. And a little rising and falling to end our Wednesday night broadcast, because that's what we do at the end of every Wednesday show. We're always happy to have you guys, no matter where you are streaming with us. We are not streaming this, but we are watching this live with you. Vanderbilt leading Tennessee 9-4 in the first round. Well, I guess the second round, technically, since Tennessee had the bye. But in the second round of the SEC tournament down in Hoover, Alabama. Top of the 8th, 2 on for, who's it bad? 2 on for Vandy right now. Trailing, or rather leading, Vanderbilt is 9-4 as the 8th seed against the number 1 overall seed. Pretty crazy. Anyway, we have football to talk, and we have a lot to dive into and some insights that you're going to hear from Tyler Boyd that I know you're looking forward to. But I first need you guys to share this show. If you're hanging out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, you can do that by retweeting the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're on Facebook Live, like who's on Facebook? Let's see. John Vargas. I see Danny Whitson. I see Billy Jones. Make sure you like the video and make sure you share this broadcast around, because if you don't, and I named you by name, I'm going to find out and I'm going to yell at you afterwards, but that's okay. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you don't miss a moment of any of our live stream content on the A to Z Sports Digital Network or any of the originals that we post from Titans training camp practices, the press conference clips, there's highlights, all kinds of good stuff. Certainly a lot of reasons for you to subscribe. Jesse Hernandez says, say my name, Buck. Well, I did, Jesse. So that means you have to share this show. And if you don't, I'm going to go back. I'm going to find you on Facebook, Jesse. That sounds like a threat. And I'm going to see if you shared it. And if you didn't share it after I said your name, then there's going to be repercussions the next time I see you pop in here. Because I remember. Memory like an elephant. Not really. I have the short term. I have the attention span of a small rodent, not an elephant. Either way, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by Zen Sports. Promo code ATOZTN. That will get you in on all the action. It'll also get you up to $100 on your no danger first wager. Just plug in the promo code ATOZTN in the Zen Sports app. You've got TrueMav Fitness, the best place to work out. The first workout is free at TrueMavFitness.com. You can find out more information there. And Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. If you want a Bronco, a Mustang, an Explorer, whatever one of, or whichever one of their quality American-made Ford vehicles that you are after, Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. We have a lot of different things that people are excited about at Titans OTAs. Now, here's the way that the practice schedule works, because I've gotten a lot of questions today about, well, how did Tyler Boyd look today? Did Tavondre Sweat practice today? This, that, and the other. So the Titans offseason schedule is everybody's offseason schedule is a little wonky to an extent. But right now, Titans had practices on Monday and Tuesday. Today was an off day. They'll be back on the practice field tomorrow. But only one day of the 3 days of work during phase 3 is required to be open to the media. So for us, that was Tuesday, and it will not be open to us again until next Wednesday. So I would take into consideration that anytime you hear reports or see practice videos or want updates, that you're probably only getting 1/3 of the information that you are seeking from people like me, because there's only 1/3 of the work that we're allowed to see at this particular point in the offseason. So I think that with all the different things that are out on the practice field, there's a lot of people with questions. There's a lot of things that you guys want to see play out. There's a lot. Oh my God, 12-4 Vanderbilt over Tennessee. This is a really, really bad showing for the Vols. I'm sure we'll talk about it. I'll probably rub Lucas's nose in it tomorrow from 10-1. But either way, tough scene for the top-seeded Vols. We'll keep an eye on the score to see if top of the 8th, though. I don't know if Tennessee's going to be able to come back in this one. Anyway, so you guys have a lot of questions. There's a lot of new pieces and parts that you want to get information on. So we're going to do the best job that we can for you, not just on the practice field, but fortunately, I have the radio show where I can have players on a regular basis. Now, Tyler Boyd was the guest today. The full interview is available to you on 104.5 The Zone's YouTube channel, and it's also available in the podcast feed of the radio show, which is my name. It's the Buck Rising Show, wherever you get your podcast. And I really enjoyed talking to Tyler Boyd for a couple of different reasons. But the question that I want to ask you before I play you this clip on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, your Two Rivers Ford take, if you are so inclined to join in the discussion, is how can Tyler Boyd most help Will Levis this season? Or how can Tyler Boyd most help Will Levis this season? Bert, there's the word help missing from the question prompt in the email, if you would be kind enough to make sure that you add that. So how can Tyler Boyd help Will Levis? It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it's presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer for over 40 years. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. They always sell all their new non-specialty Ford vehicles below MSRP, and they always put you in the driver's seat as the customer to make the car buying process fast, easy, and fun. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So how can Will Levis help, or rather, how can Tyler Boyd help Will Levis most in 2024? Mike Peck says doing what he does best, being a reliable slot receiver. Danny wants to know if I'm going to have Cedric Gray on the show. He's not super high on my list of players that I'm looking for right now, but probably by training camp for sure. We do the training camp series where we're out there every day that they have practice open to the media during the week. And so we sit down with a player every day that I'm doing the broadcasts there during training camp. So we'll probably go through 20 to 25 players, 20 to 25 interviews with the training camp. So yeah, Cedric Gray, I'm certain Cedric Gray will be on my training camp list. Right now I'm a little more, I don't want to say selective, because obviously Cedric Gray is going to probably play a pretty significant role for this defense at some point. But like Tyler Boyd, Calvin Ridley, L'Jarius Sneed, that's more who I'm after right now. I'd rather talk to the vets than the rookies. I'll let the rookies have a few more football practices before I'm super interested in them, besides, Bertha and JC Latham. Anyway, so how can Tyler Boyd help Will Levis most in this system? Jack Ripper says, how can they help each other? Well, that's fair. Certainly it's going to be a symbiotic relationship between quarterback and wide receiver. But here's the thing. This quarterback is new to the system. And Tyler Boyd has been in this system for 4 or 5 years. And he very much expects that this will be almost identical, a role that he had in Cincinnati to what he will have here in Tennessee. So I think that the relationship between Boyd and Levis is going to be a unique one, and it's going to be different from when Tyler Boyd was helping a young Joe Burrow come along in this offense. In fact, what Tyler Boyd told us today on the radio show is that he's going to be able to help Will Levis more than he did Joe Burrow at the time when he was a rookie joining the Cincinnati Bengals.
Tyler, you were heading into year 5 of your career when Joe Burrow came into the league as a rookie. Just what do you remember about working with Joe as a young quarterback, and what have you taken from that experience and now carrying it over with Will Levis, obviously going into year 2?
Yeah, I think it's a little different in the comparison of those two. Not on a skill level, but based off of with Joe coming in. I kind of only had 1 year under my belt in our offense, I believe, and I still kind of had to maneuver and kind of still work through my ability into the offense as well. So I still was going through a learning curve just as well as he was, so we kind of picked up that chemistry throughout years playing together, and me being a part of that system already flourishing here, having that same system and with Levis, I think it'll help him grow faster because I already got an idea. Like I said, I mentioned before that I already know where he expects me to be, in certain plays or when certain coverages come about. I'm like I said, I'm real good of trying to maneuver through different holes and finding the right one so he can find me sooner, and I think it'll just help his progression.
All right, so you got here Monday.
So that is Bert laughing at the fact that he just cut me off mid question there. So that's Tyler Boyd, the full interview available in the radio show's podcast feed. But he's saying there, I was way less familiar with the offense that we were running in Cincinnati by the time Joe Burrow got there. So we were learning together as we came along because Tyler Boyd, this is his 9th NFL season. And Burrow's on a second contract. I want to say this is Joe's 5th or 6th NFL season at this point. So they were, pretty close to each other in age, and they were pretty close to each other in terms of the learning curve because Zach Taylor got there, I think, the year before Joe Burrow joined the Cincinnati Bengals or was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. And that time spent, that repetition, that depth of knowledge, the nuances required to make the system better than the system is designed to be. Tyler Boyd's going to have a way deeper depth of knowledge on all of this than he did at the time that Joe Burrow was with him. Trippin' Titan says he can help him most by catching the ball. That's a fair assessment. Devin Mills says he can help Levis more because Will is less talented and Boyd knows the system. So that's an interesting theory. I would argue, and I think the argument is a very easy one. I think Will Levis is considerably more talented than Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow is a stone cold killer. He's a wildly efficient player, and his strengths as a player do not necessarily, he's clearly talented, right? Like you have to have some kind of high level talent to be able to play in the NFL. But Levis as a prospect is a uber talented player. Levis has far superior arm talent than Joe Burrow does. The thing that makes Joe Burrow an assassin is the dude, in terms of the short to intermediate stuff, will kill you. And his ball placement, which is different from accuracy, will kill you. There is not a better processor in NFL football, given that Tom Brady is out of the league, than Joe Burrow right now. Dak Prescott is pretty good, but Joe is superior. So I think the argument about Will being less talented than Burrow is not a fair assessment. But don't confuse talent for the superiority of playing the quarterback position. Devin says, I'll believe it when I see it on Sundays. I love Levis as a player and the person. No, Devin, you're missing the point. If you're not, maybe you're not understanding my point. I'm not like coming after you or saying, oh, you idiot, why don't you get what I'm trying to say? You've already seen it on Sundays. Here, do not conflate talent to on-field success. Josh Allen, super talented player. It took Josh a while to rein that in. Mahomes, super talented player. Now, Mahomes is obviously, it's probably the worst example that I could use, to be honest. But the thing about Pat, the reason why he's winning back-to-back Super Bowls now and should probably be favored to win 3 in a row and will be favored to win 3 in a row is because he's not just doing it based off his talent anymore. He's playing the quarterback position as well as he has at any point, or better than he has at any point in his NFL career. There's a massive difference from just being talented to being a high-level NFL quarterback. A high-level NFL quarterback, turns out, has to be a good game manager. A high-level NFL quarterback has to be a good system quarterback. They have to work well within the context of the system, And anything that they make outside of structure for themselves, well, that's where their talent comes into play. There's Herbert, Travis Lewis says, Herbert is a great example of that. Justin Herbert has all the talent in the world. Herbert's certainly more talented than Tua. He's more talented than Burrow. Herbert is as talented as any quarterback in the NFL right now, not named Patrick Mahomes. And that's because Mahomes is on a tier unto himself. But Herbert has yet to really put it all together in the execution and high-level processing, isolation and elimination. Not just Herbert checks it down, even though he has the ability to push the ball down the field. He seems more comfortable with the shorter stuff, with the more safe stuff. And that's something that has to be changed if you're going to be in an effective NFL offense. Because when he rips it, but he doesn't do it frequently enough. So there's a lot of different things. I want people to separate talent versus skill. The skill level that Patrick Mahomes is playing the quarterback position is now equal to his talent. And that's why you're seeing the best version of the best quarterback that any of us have probably ever seen in our lifetimes. God help us if Allen's skill ever catches up to his talent, because Josh Allen is the most athletic and the most physically talented quarterback in football, more talented than Mahomes. Mahomes is not that kind of physically imposing. Pat has great arm strength. He doesn't have Josh Allen's cannon. So if Josh's skill level ever catches up to his talent level, the whole league is banged. But with Levis is definitely more talented than Joe Burrow is, but Joe Burrow is the far more skilled player at the quarterback position. And I think that's where people get caught up in the idea of talent versus skill. Justin Parr says, what do you think Levis's ceiling? I have no idea. His ceiling is as high as any player in playing the quarterback position right now, but it doesn't mean a damn bit of anything if he can't become a more skilled player. So yeah, I don't think there is a ceiling for Will Levis. I think Will Levis can be great, but if he doesn't get the refinement that a quarterback needs to have prolonged success, then I don't give a shit about ceiling or talent or any of it. I want to know, can you play quarterback well? So let's keep it moving. We don't have to get bogged down there, but it's a big asset that Tyler Boyd provides to Will Levis and to the entire scheme. A to Z Sports Primetime is presented by TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. Get your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident at TrueMavFitness.com. No workout is ever recycled or repeated. TrueMav is the best in the business for a reason. Go to TrueMavFitness.com for that first workout free, like I mentioned. Okay, moving on. Biggest headline in the NFL right now. There's a bunch to go through, because obviously the Titans aren't the only team opening up OTAs. I believe 21 teams, including Tennessee, opened up their OTAs on Monday. I think that for the Titans in particular, they're pretty low on the totem pole of news-grabbing headlines because there's no contract drama going on. There's no quarterback controversy. All they've done is do positive things, and positive things are less interesting to the media at large. So what is the biggest NFL headline going around right now at this time of year, or what is the most interesting NFL league-wide headline that you have been paying attention to besides just the Titans? We'll talk about it together after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN. Oh, I think I hit it too hard. I think I might have knocked the I think I knocked it off the wall. I hit it too hard. The nail came out. That's funny. Is it going to fall off? Yeah, it is. If I let it go. Oh my God, I'm going to have to sit here and hold it the whole show. Disaster. You guys are going to get a full view of the office while I try to Cheddar Bangs says, pretty sure Levis is more important to the city than some Vols fan. I'm inclined to agree. Billy Jones says, as a Vol fan, I save my hate for Obama in Florida. I don't know why that's so funny. It's funny because the idea that, like, I think anybody maybe except for Billy Jones, I think he means Bama. I thought he typed Obama. I think he meant Bama. Thank you for stalling, Bert. Zensports.com for that for that up to $100 on your no danger first wager in the app, promo code ATOZTN. All right, so we're gonna speed this thing up a little bit because I'm literally holding this up with my left hand while we finish the broadcast. So all that to say, biggest headlines in the NFL. There's a ton to pick from, but what's going on with Tua in Miami is as interesting as anything out there right now.
Yeah, good evening, Tom and Judy. Tua was in the building. Number one was throwing passes. I'm told he did everything as normal today, the first day of OTAs. And as you mentioned, he forecasted that. He said, I'm going to be at OTAs. I'm going to leave all the contract stuff to my agent, Ryan Williams. And right now, contract negotiations are still ongoing. Nothing imminent yet, from what I understand. But I talked to some people around Tua and the Dolphins, and I haven't got the feel that there's much concern about this. I know Dolphins fans were hitting the panic button when some reports came out, hey, he's not around all the time. He's skipping some of the meetings. A little context there. I mean, Tua's traveling a little bit back and forth from Cali. He has a private quarterback coach in John Beck that he's been going back and forth from Miami to Cali from. He also has a growing family he spent time with. And so he's not just sitting at his hands and saying, I'm not doing anything until you pay me my money. That's not the way he's rolling. In fact, I'll tell you this, he's down to 220 pounds from what I understand. He dropped 10 to 15 pounds this offseason already from the 230s where he was last year. He wants to be agile, a little bit more escapability from the bulked up version that was in the 230s last year. And so talking with people close to Tua and with the Dolphins, I still anticipate they get a deal done before the start of the regular season. And yes, I anticipate it being over $50 million a year like Jared Goff got.
One quick question here before I let Judy jump in, Cam. With Tua dropping, you said 15 pounds or so, being 220. With his medical history, the concussions, what's the level of concern, if any, within the Dolphins organization about him, if he's at this weight, playing at that weight in 2024?
Yeah, Tom, no concern from the Dolphins. They saw him play 17 games last year. Last year, the priority was bulking up. They did want him to get as heavy as possible to withstand it. Now they've seen him withstand it. We all talked about the jiu-jitsu last year. They saw a lot of his action from the martial arts turn and avoid some of those falls that led to the concussions previously. And so now the hope is that maybe he can extend a little bit more with a little bit of a slimmer weight. So they don't think that this is going to necessarily make him more fragile because the injuries often happen from him falling backwards, not from him being too small.
So that is, thank you to my good buddy Cam Wolf of the NFL Network for buying me enough time to hammer in a nail with my phone real quick to keep the backdrop up. By the way, Cam Wolf will be on the radio show to update us on the latest on OTAs around the league on Friday at 12:20. So we're looking forward to having Cam back a part of the program. But Tua is a huge storyline in the NFL. And it has a trickle-down effect to the Titans for this reason alone. Quarterback money. Quarterback money is insane. Now, should you get sticker shock anymore by the amount of money that quarterbacks are being paid? Of course, the answer is no. Yes, $53 million a year for Jared Goff is a lot of money. It's also what the cost of a quarterback is. So, like, at a certain point, you have to shrug your shoulders. You have to get over it. And you have to understand that, while the vast majority of us are never going to even know what $53 million looks like, much less have it in our bank account, that's the going rate for an NFL starting quarterback. And Goff went out and earned that contract. It's the second time that Goff has been able to cash in on how at the top, the very top of the quarterback market. So credit to Jared Goff, not mad about it at all. It's just percentage of salary cap, as MB points out in the comments on YouTube. I think Danny Sutherland says Buck being resourceful using the phone. The show must go on. Legend. Yeah, listen, we're not stopping this shit for anything, much less a backdrop that's falling down behind me. It's the idea that hasn't happened in 6 years before is pretty wild. But either way, Tua making that kind of money is going to cause discussion, debate whenever he gets paid, because he's probably going to get one of these $52.5 million deals. Herbert, who is, in fact, Tua is the last quarterback from his draft class to not have a second contract yet, because Herbert's been paid, Burrow has been paid. Were Burrow and Herbert weren't the same draft class, actually. I think Burrow was the COVID class. No, were Burrow and Herbert the same class, Bert? Burrow, Herbert, and Tua. I want to say that Tua and Herbert may have been the year before Burrow. That feels right to me. No, I don't think that's right either. 2021? No, wasn't Lawrence 21? Anyway, I'm mixing up
It's
my
2020. 2020. It was a huge class. It was
he was in Burrow's class. Okay.
It was Burrow, Tua, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, so I am correct in saying that Tua is the only one that hasn't gotten the second contract yet.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Back to the shadows. Well done by Bert. So, all that to say, Tua is accused more than any other quarterback, I think, going right now in football, of being a product of his surroundings. And is that worth $53 million a year? The answer to that is probably yes, because Tua's statistics are as good as anybody who's been paid. They're better than Herbert's recently, even though Tua has yet to win a playoff game. And Justin Herbert, I don't know. It's a pretty complicated situation. Burrow, obviously the best out of all of them, as the first overall pick in that draft class. But Caleb says, you think Lawrence or Tua is less deserving of a $50 million contract? I don't think those situations are similar at all. I think Tua is way more deserving. Trevor Lawrence hasn't done even close to what Tua has done, even though he's probably the more talented player and he's the better prospect. Or I guess they're not prospects anymore if you're 3 or 4 years into your career. But there's no question that Tua is more deserving of that than Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence hasn't done shit in the NFL. I know the Chargers collapsed in that playoff game that Trevor Lawrence won, so Trevor Lawrence does have a postseason win that Tua does not. But I don't know how on earth you can look at Tua and Lawrence and think that they're even in the same conversation as far as productivity to date. Anyway, Justin Parr says, you think Malik makes our roster or Mason takes it? Well, no, Mason Rudolph is your quarterback too. I don't know if Malik makes your roster or not, but Malik Willis is not quarterback too. Anyway, rising and falling. Who stock rose? Who stock fell? Let's wrap things up for the week. Stock up, I would say, just football in general. Football being back makes me very happy. Makes us all very happy to have back in our lives. And also stock up Lucas Panzica. Lucas did get engaged while he was in Italy for the past couple of weeks, and so we're very, very happy for him. So rising and falling. I don't have anybody who's actually Vols stock down. Top of the ninth, trailing 13-4. Vandy at bat right now with 1 on and 2 out. This game in the second round of the SEC tournament, the first game that Tennessee has played because they had yesterday off. That's embarrassing for Tennessee. Stock down Tennessee, stock up Lucas Panzica. Danny Sutherland says, I can't wait for rising and falling. The poster is prime candidate for tonight. Yes, the backdrop is indeed the candidate, although Zen Sports never lets us down, even if that's my fault. That was operator error. I slammed my hand against the wall and expected the backdrop to stay up when I know how, I know I'm the one who put it up, so fair to expect that it would not take much to knock down. Either way, that's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you guys spending your evening with us. Check out the Tyler Boyd interview if you haven't done so already. Check out the podcast and join us tomorrow on 104.5 The Zone from 10 to 1, because we'll have a lot of good Titans conversations for you and a reaction to what the hell Vanderbilt just did to Tennessee tonight. See y'all.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville! Go home!